So it feels that the injection you got feels like how it was when the dose was lower in the past?
No, no, I feel a bit more COPD.
COPD.
Yeah, like
Right. Well, I think yeah. So
out of breath and tired. Like I've been sleeping most of the time. I get up for a couple of hours and I fall asleep, and I've been like that since last week. But I think my white blood cell count's got a bit to do with that.
Okay. Well, we'll
And
keep following that.
yeah, you've got other physical health stuff here.
yeah, I've got. I think I've got bowel cancer or something.
Oh dear.
Yeah, because they've done the poo test 3 times in 10 days, and I can't work out why they keep on wanting to repeat it. And I know she said something to me about my white blood cell count, but I won't find out till Monday.
Well, she sounds like she's fairly thorough. I mean, when you're doing the poo test, there's lots of things you can be looking at. Doesn't not necessarily cancer at all.
I just know from my white blood cell count and shit like that.
That's usually infection or whatever. It's not necessary.
Yeah, said I had very little immune system or something.
Have there been any recurring tensions with your neighbor or anything like that since I saw you?
Yeah, the guy upstairs, nothing's changed.
The guy who assaulted you?
No, the guy stomps around on the floor at like 6 in the morning, and then around lunchtime, and then about 6 o'clock, and then from maybe 11 till 1, 2 in the morning.
Oh dear. What's he doing up there, do you know?
Well, it's not the guy who lives here, it's another guy who's staying with him,
Oh.
who's a taxi driver,
Oh.
who, you know, stomps around and walks around like an elephant. And they know that the noise comes through, and I'm sick of going, oh, fuck up, cunt. You know, because it really pisses me off.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Especially when you go to bed and you're asleep and you wake up and you hear this boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
So that's been going on for some time, right?
Since the 6th of January.
So on top of everything else, interrupting your sleep by stomping around in the middle of the night is no bargain.
And pissing me, it just pisses me off no end, because there's, like, I know that in my place where I lived, the first place, it was upstairs, downstairs. I know that you can walk around without sounding like that, you know, and it's built the same and shit like that. That it's only if you're being deliberately heavy-footed.
I mean, I think it's well. For my money, they should have put carpets in, because that's what.
It's got carpet in it.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's with carpets. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that really does, I was going to say the same thing. You know, putting carpet in areas, in high traffic areas, can really dampen the transmission of sound.
Yeah, it's thin carpet, you know, it's got bugger all underlay, but...
I mean, we've got similar issues here, Dean, because this is supposed to be soundproofing, but it's not particularly, doesn't work very well at all.
And, you know, and we don't stomp around on that very often either. But because I talk so loud, being American, you know, that I obviously get complaints from next door that when they're trying to do therapy and I'm talking loudly, they can't concentrate. So it is a problem. But at night, I live on the top floor, so I'm the stomper rather than the stompee. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I sympathize.
The guy who's been coming around, Chris's brother, who stole from me last week, he was the person who was with him who actually ripped me off. But he hasn't been coming around because his car blew up, so, and it's below him to catch the bus.
Excellent. Well, there's a blessing. I love the bus. I hardly ever get to catch it, but I really, really enjoy being on the bus. It's so nice being driven.
I haven't seen Le Mans since Sunday.
Excellent.
Sunday was the last time I saw him, so that's good. But it still happened, still took place on the Saturday. It took place with what's her name, Tony, on the Thursday, and when that cop woman came around, it took place with her. You know, so they're all things that have happened, and the assault that took place, I mean. And the cops not turning up to 111 call, well, they don't have the right not to do that. You know, if they heard that he was trying to get into my place because I was talking to him on the phone while he was trying to come in the door, and I slammed the door before he could get in, yelling and screaming. You know, I mean, so they should have turned up.
He sounds ill, you know, mentally ill.
Well, he is. I think he's not mentally ill. He's bright.
Well, you know, it
Well, I
is.
know that Tony has alerted his team.
Oh, so he is under treatment.
Yeah,
okay. Because I was going to say.
He's not with our service, he's with ACOS.
Oh, I see.
Honestly, with ACOS,
Sorry,
I'm
I'm breaching privacy here. Please forget you heard that.
well, ACOS is to do with the Mason Clinic, isn't it?
No, they're not. But that is where they get a lot of their referrals.
Yeah.
So.
We need to stop talking about your neighbours. I'm going to get in trouble.
Well, all the other neighbours are fine. I get along with them really well. We talk, we say hello. Apart from those three guys that live at the top, two island boys, they don't speak to anybody, but they don't talk to anyone at all. They've got
That's democratic.
very select people in the community who they talk to, and they're a bit like shy, even though they're big giants. When you talk to them, they're like, you know. So I just, you know, stay out of their way, and I just say hello to them and the caseworkers who come around and shit like that.
So, has your feelings about the Mental Health Act stuff shifted at all from how you felt when we first talked about it?
I feel worse.
Worse.
Yeah.
You mean
Because I mean, I feel like I'm just being utterly and totally fucked over. I mean, won by the police. You know, because if something does happen, Tony said to me, "Oh, if something happens, I guarantee you the cops will come," and blah blah blah, and they didn't. You know, so everyone has these ideas, but they don't seem to work, and it leaves me feeling like fucking every time I see a cop car, I'm scared that they're going to come and grab me for something and lock me up.
well, my comment about that would be the whole reason for doing what we're doing is so that whatever has happened in the past that has soured your relationship with the police won't happen in the future because of the medicine. I know you don't.
Well, I don't agree with that. The police, you know, fucking highly traumatised me over a number of years and fucking severely fucked me over with my family with the John Keys thing, Greg Mapp, right through to this dickhead sergeant from Avondale, you know, and it's okay for them to beat me up. And you saying, "Oh, well, we'll drug you so you can handle that." Well, that's fucking wrong.
No, it's that the attitude of the police toward you is not entirely independent of the history of things you've done and said.
What about the fucking history of what they've done?
Well, I'm not. They're not my patients, but my point is that the whole idea of doing this is to make your interactions with other people less fraught.
Yeah, but nothing's going to change until they come to the table and go, okay, what are the facts? And we go through the John Keys thing, and the impact on my custody and my family and my relationship with my daughter. And my daughter was everything. You couldn't traumatise a person more if you wanted to in the world by doing something to their family based on a lie. And there isn't a protection order for my daughter.
That's what you said, yeah.
Yeah. And yet they still go around bleating that there is. I mean, Barry Walsh did to you. And there isn't. And, you know, I think even my wife would find it a bit disturbing.
So, do you have any plans to see your daughter now that it's clear the protection order doesn't
No.
preclude that?
No, because I can't without contacting my ex-wife.
Oh, I see. And you don't think she would cooperate?
No, I know that she'd breach me for protection order the second I
I
contacted
see.
her.
In order to see your daughter, you have to talk to her, and you're not allowed to talk to her.
Yeah.
So it's almost like indirectly.
And my other daughter won't, because she got threatened by one of Jean's other daughters behind her back, who's been spamming my YouTube, and is probably the person who's attacking my YouTube, and has been fucking making my life a misery for the last fucking 20 years. You know, which is, what's her name? Roseanne Highland. And stalking my account and reposting my content on Facebook or something with comments about what I'm saying. You know, and that shouldn't be happening. And that's behind my ex-wife's back. And that's the whole thing that disturbs me the most, because my ex-wife found that out. She'd probably kill herself because of the sensitivity of my Down syndrome daughter, how it would impact her life, what she's doing in the background without her knowing. You know, and she wouldn't want anyone doing anything in the background. I know her. You know, I know her really well. She's curious about me, but she wants me to live my own life, and she doesn't want me involved in her life. And I respect that, you know. But I don't like what's happened about my daughter, and I've got 6 access visits I've never been given. And because they wouldn't provide them. And it was all the authorities that have done this, not my ex-wife. And they've actually smashed mine and my daughter's life. And I think that's all trauma. And the police can't just walk away and go, oh, we've done nothing, when they've lied through their fucking teeth.
But Dean, we're convinced that a part of the animosity that exists between you and police comes from the history of you getting angry and making threats.
No, but I try being polite and respectful, and they still treat me like a piece of shit.
If the source of
everything they say comes back to, oh, we'll tell you a mental health caseworker, or we'll tell somebody else, instead of addressing what my concern is and my right to make a complaint about anything. Yeah.
Well,
at the moment, though, Dean, you are on bail. Your bail is supervised by police, and so, even if we can, for the next few months, keep you out of jail, then I think we're acting in your best interests. And like at the moment, you've got access to your GP.
I'm going to see their asses off. That's,
Sure, but for the next few months, rather than, what we were seeing was things going up and up and up, and more stuff happening, and
well,
things
for
getting out
them
of
to come
control.
down and down and down,
Yeah.
they need to stop ignoring shit and just going, oh, and actually do something about things that have happened, like the assault with me, for a start. The fact that, there is a letter on the brain injury, and they were given copies of it, and they should have known, and the excuses don't match, right down to the whole motivation of arresting me with this Nicholas Stepler shit was like tick for tack. And the police, if they haven't got enough fucking maturity, then they're like my kids, and they need a kick in the ass.
But we're going to get through the next patch.
yeah,
We're going to keep you out of jail if possible.
Because that's what all these people are at the age that I'm dealing with. They're the frontline cops are the age of my grandkids, and the senior sergeants are the age of my kids. And,
you know what that's like, yeah.
And I just listen to them and I go, oh, fuck, you just sound like my kids, grow up. Try that shit on me, I'm older than you and wiser,
So maybe the disagreement between us and you is that you don't think that you do anything to bring this on, and we do.
Oh,
and
I do.
We're trying to keep that from happening.
By getting anger, but I understand the anger. I mean, it's because of the trauma over the years. That it's not one thing; it's a whole pile of things, and they've never addressed one thing ever since Rosendale retired. And it comes back to Avondale. Well, when I was arrested in 212, and why 212 so important with Avondale, is Amanda Williams was the partner of the guy who killed my fucking son. She was the cop who arrested me. So I got a particularly hate of Avondale because of the way that they bullshit and lie about things.
So, Dean, we yeah.
That's when they charged me with trying to blow up Parliament, was on TV, and fucking all this other shit, which, they had to throw the charges out because there was no evidence.
I suppose we need to just get you through this period. You're out on remand. We would like you to be able to stay out on remand. Tony was very, very keen to try and make sure you didn't lose your tenancy in your flat, because if they cut your benefit off while you're in prison, then that makes it, and you're not there for 4 months with nothing being paid for. It's a problem. So we're just trying to deal with day to day, keeping you housed.
Yeah, well, Tony also told me that my rent was up to date when I got out.
Okay. You guys have got
Yeah.
She sent you all the stuff, and you've taken it to MSD, and you're going back again next week. So we just need to deal with these day-to-day things, and also, the stuff you got with your GP, that sounds really important, and stuff that needs to happen. And it wouldn't be happening if you were in remand. None of this would be being attended to.
It would be, but
No,
I'd
your
rather
rent wouldn't be
addressed.
attended. You wouldn't be seeing your GP.
I've seen a doctor in hospital and in prison. I got taken to hospital, so it would still be happening. But
that's not the only, is it?
no.
No.
So we disagree about the route we take to make your life better, but we are operating. It may not seem like it to you, but we're operating with your best interest at heart, even though it doesn't feel that way to you.
Yeah.
And I accept that. And it's unpleasant. I really don't like being at odds with the person I'm treating.
The Mental Health Act, once you're under it, the cops will just use it to try and discredit me as far as anything goes.
They might be less likely to beat you up.
Well,
because
that's still
being a
unacceptable.
patient, the police look at things. You're either mad or you're bad.
Tom, I'm under the Human Rights Act. Why did the police and the IPCA refuse the Human Rights Commission 28 of 30 of my human rights?
I don't know.
And they did it in writing. Okay? That should set off alarm bells with you guys as far as what's going on.
But we can't change the police. We can write to them.
You can verify with the Human Rights Commission that that's what the status is and that's what the case is. And that I've taken it much further. I took it to Geneva as a case and to the ICJ, and it will get appointed a court date next year. And then what's going to happen?
Well, all I know is the calmer you are between now and then, the better the outcome is. The more likely the outcome will be for in your benefit.
Yeah, but no one should be abusing my human rights.
I agree. That's beside the point, though. Really, except in terms of why we feel like giving you treatment is in your best interest, is because the confrontation, which happens in both directions, might relax if you're treated.
And the letter, I've given Tony a copy of it with the brain injury report. It says really specifically that I will more than likely die as a result of an injury to the head if it's on my left side from an internal brain bleed. Because the amount of brain damage that I've got on the left side. Well, they smashed my left side of my head against the car. That's where I got the big bruise and the photograph and all that off. And for me, that's totally being ignored by the IPCA, my lawyer, by everybody, and no one's really interested in my rights other than putting the boot in. And how can I not be anything other than really aggravated and upset and feel aggrieved and suicidal and everything else one does when all of those rights are eroded?
Okay, so Jim, we're just trying to sort of
Because that's where I'm at.
Yeah, we want to bring it back to the here and now, the
Well,
day to
that's the
day.
here and now.
I know, but I mean, we're looking at keeping the flat, going through whatever process you need to with your GP.
But you've got to respect my human rights. I mean, you don't under the Act, but the police do anyway, regardless.
Yeah. And I mean, all I can say is that in terms of any interactions that we have with clients who are under Mental Health Act, if the police get involved, they
And
phone
people
us
who react to talk to me in the community. You know, I mean, why did Michael Woods...
The usual process is that the police call us and we take over. So, I mean, that's certainly
no,
what
I
my
know that
hope
that's
would be.
bullshit, but the police shouldn't be calling you. They should be doing their job.
But when they do their job, they're beating you up.
Well, no, they should be arresting them on.
They should.
You know, that they should have sent me a complaint acknowledgement form and number, an event number for the theft from my flat. Even though I haven't got insurance and I can't do anything, it's still an accurate record of what's taken place. You know, and I was polite and respectful on all of those calls with them. I wasn't yelling and screaming or swearing at them. It's usually only pertaining to the internet. And what's going on the internet, it's still happening.
Okay,
You know, so
but I
I'm
mean,
standing there
yeah.
biting my tongue, and how long can I expect it to be bite my tongue before I go off again?
Well, you're less likely to go off on medicine than off medicine. That's the point. It's the going off that gets you in trouble.
Why I haven't gone off since Thursday night? It's because I've been too sick, too tired to yell out, fuck the world, you know.
Well, let's...
Because I want the whole world to know, because not one person or agency that's responsible is doing anything, you know, right. And it comes back to, if the police is a reason for you guys with me, then that's a really serious, even more traumatising to me, because what about my rights in all this? What about my complaint? What about, you know, recalling the phone calls and listening to them and knowing that I was being polite and respectful?
So, Dean, when we look at somebody's mental health...
Because that's where my safety's at risk.
Yeah.
And my, you know, and my welfare, and that means that I'm not really safe, you know.
We've been trying
and
really
I
hard.
can't get past that.
I've got to be fair to Tom. We've been trying really hard not to put you under Mental Health Act.
Well, I'm just saying that's
been under,
what I feel like. You
that's
know?
been under discussion for months as to whether you should or shouldn't be under. Ever since you sort of said, "Well, I'm not having my treatment," we're like, "Okay, what do we do here?" So it's not something that we just thought, right, we'll go put Dean under the Mental Health Act. Let's go for it. We tried really hard to work with you and not have to go there. But we needed you, we did.
I'll tell you this, the police say they don't know what's going on online. It's bullshit. They know everything that's going on online. And I'm not going to tell you how I know, but they've got somebody who watches the YouTube channels, and particularly on mine, all the time.
I can't stand YouTube, so...
Well, I'm just saying.
God help them.
And I know that I've been making them shit their undies for the last 3 days, but I've done it intentionally.
Dean, please, you're on bail. Could you just...
Well, no, not by posting any videos myself.
Break.
By taking international content and events and putting it in a selective manner where most people would think, how does this guy know? You know, because I'm like a day ahead of the rest of the world on most sort of significant things that are happening. You know, like the comet impacts in the States, that set everyone off 3 days ago, and they were like, how does he know? You know, how does he know what's coming from space? And it's because I monitor what's going on in the Space Channel, so I know what's coming in. You know, all sorts of things like that.